It feels like this is becoming a, 10-episode-ly tradition at this point, but I just have to remind everybody, I love the Pokémon anime. The Pokémon anime is one of my favorite anime series that has ever existed. I would rather watch Pokémon's anime than watch half of the animes that are out there. But just because I love the Pokémon anime does not make the Pokémon anime immune to criticism. That is why we satirically go through and have a laugh at the state of Pokémon. Because let's be real, sometimes it's shit. Anyway, with the formalities out the way, we begin the episode and oh my god, Ash is actually doing Pokemon League preparation. He's actually watching Bruno from the Elite Four compete in Pokemon matches. Finally, it's only taken him a decade to realize that he really does need to learn more if he's gonna challenge the Pokemon League. Granted, he's not actually training his Pokemon, but it's a start. And that start comes to a grinding stop when Misty turns off the TV and calls Ash and Brock couch potatoes. Misty, mate, what are you doing? Do you realize how long it's taken to get Ash to a point where he's actually focusing on the Pokemon League? Don't bugger him up now. Ash says he wants to meet Bruno so that Bruno can teach him the Elite Four secrets to help him become a great Pokemon trainer. Misty says she doubts that'll ever happen, and Brock points out, Bruno's a superstar. Excuse me, Brock, but I think you'll find that's pronounced superstar. You know when I make a reference and it's for like 5 people in the audience? That was one of those times, I think. Ash's mum turns up and says she knows how to find Bruno, because there's a rumor going round that Bruno has been seen training in the nearby mountains. Now, there is a lot of talk on the internet about Bruno potentially being Ash's long-lost secret dad, since he has spiky black hair. Much in the same way people on Twitter seem to think that any white guy with dark hair and a beard is Ace Trainer Liam. Honestly, that happens way too often. And sometimes people will use this scene as some kind of subtle nod that maybe there is no rumor and Delia just happens to know Bruno's whereabouts because Bruno is Ash's dad and he trains in the mountains, and she just happens to know that because that's why he left home in the first place. But that to me is a massive reach. Like, that's a Michael Jordan at the end of Space Jam kind of reach, you know? The more likely scenario is that Delia is just a big old gossip and did just hear a rumor. She lives in a town with like 4 houses in it. What else is she gonna do? Direct quote from Ash.
Mom, don't make dinner because we're going to Mount Hideaway.
Poor Delia. Everyone's buggering off to go and hang out with Bruno in the mountains, and now she's not even allowed to eat? Sucks to be Delia. Oh look, it's that one pun that everyone overuses. Okay, this is confusing. Misty says they're about 7 or 8 miles away from Mount Hideaway, and Ash and Brock convince her to let them take a break from hiking. Then in the very next scene, they're at this shack, which we later learn is in the area where Bruno is training. But does that mean they traveled 7 or 8 miles between those scenes? Or was Bruno actually training a lot closer to Pallet Town than we thought and wasn't actually 7 or 8 miles away at Mount Hideaway like we were previously told with that whole rumor thing? Answers on a postcard. The lady at the shack serves Ash and his friends muskrat meatballs. Hang on, this is the Pokemon world. What's a muskrat? And of course, for those genuinely wondering, this is a muskrat. And no, surprisingly, they're not closely related to beavers, which could have fooled me. Team Rocket turn up and try and steal sackfuls of the woman's muskrat meatballs, and Meowth breaks the 4th wall by using a TV remote to fast forward them through their motto. And yeah, sure, I get it. The whole point is it's hilarious because their voices go all squeaky, but man, this just makes me think about the movie Click. Do you remember that movie? Because man, it gets really dark towards the end, doesn't it? Ash tells Team Rocket their lame disguises don't fool him. Mate, they just recited their motto and basically announced themselves as Team Rocket. I doubt they're worried about hiding their identities at this point. Ash, screw your head on, lad. Team Rocket reckon they've decided to live off the land and seek enlightenment. You know, that'd be a lot more convincing if you hadn't just recited your motto. Kinda gives me the vibe that maybe you're lying. Oh look, it's the frail-looking elderly person who's actually able to fight like some kind of G-Fuel infused ninja trope. The old lady tells Ash and friends that if they're heading up the mountain, they're likely to run into some giant Onix because the area is famous for its overgrown Onix. Now come on, surely if this area was famous for giant Onix, then there'd be a lot more tourists and trainers in the area trying to see them or even catch them. So how come Ash and friends, and I guess Team Rocket, are the only people around? I'll tell you why, because this woman is talking shite. Ash and friends soon find themselves standing on a track left by a giant Onix. And as one of them begins speeding down that same track towards them, them, for some reason none of them think to just leave the track. Seriously, if something is hurtling towards you faster than you could possibly run, why would you try running in the same direction? Come on, mate, use your noodles. Also, maybe it's just me, but does anybody else think Onix looks really stupid when it's speeding along the track with the front portion of its body completely upright like this? I'm sure there are probably some kinds of snakes that move like this, but for Onix it just looks really dumb and definitely not aerodynamic. If you ask me, Onix should be traveling down this path with its head low to the ground. That would make me believe that it could actually be this fast. Speaking of really fast, if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor and just popping a quick cheeky tap on the like button, I would really appreciate it. Let's aim for 25,000 likes so I can keep my lights on, and of course hit the subscribe button if you're new so you never miss an episode. And thanks for joining us, by the way. Oh, make sure to turn on all notifications as well, just so you don't get screwed over by YouTube and accidentally miss an episode. Don't forget, of course, to share this video and leave a lovely comment. And if you can't think of a comment, go for a nice generic one like, "Wow, Liam, what G Fuel are you drinking today?" And I'll tell you in a little bit. Direct quote from Brock.
I'd love to study what makes the Onix grow so big up here.
Brock, mate, weren't you listening just now? When you were talking to the old lady, she said it's because the soil here was so good for growing. You even said, and I quote,
Huh, so fertile soil makes them grow larger.
"So don't be acting like you don't know, when we know that you know." Luckily for our heroes, Bruno was behind this rock, probably tugging himself off, and was able to direct them to safety. Maybe he didn't even notice the Onix chasing them. Maybe he just gets off on being caught in the act. Everyone's got their kinks, I suppose. I also hate that they didn't even bother animating Onix traveling down the track. It's basically just sliding along as if it has tiny little wheels on the bottom. Pokémon, come on! I know it was the 90s, but you could have at least tried to animate Onix's movements. It's no wonder I thought Onix was such a boring Pokémon as a kid if this is how it moved. Has it really taken me over 20 years to realize that Bruno's outfit is based on Primeape? He's a fighting type trainer, so it makes sense, I guess. Although, if he's such a big fan of Primeape as to dress like one, isn't it weird that the only time we actually see him use a Primeape to battle is in Pokémon Stadium 2? So Bruno agrees to help Ash learn his Pokémon training secrets, as long as he's willing to do whatever Bruno asks. In any other anime, that would probably send Ash down a very dark road, but luckily Bruno just wants Ash and Brock to do a bunch of chores for him, like hauling water or chopping wood. So if you've not clocked it yet, this is your standard mysterious loner pretends to give special training that turns out to just be chores he couldn't be bothered to do trope. Mate, this episode is Trope City today, isn't it? What's your favorite anime trope? Let me know in the comments. My favorite is probably when the protagonist realizes
They had the strength inside them all along.
this one isn't really a WTF moment, but I'd be doing this episode a disservice if I didn't mention this one gem of a line. So Ash chops a piece of wood in half and one of the halves shoots off and smacks Misty right in the face. Ash then busts out this absolute belter.
I guess your head got in the way.
Bruno, that's an awful lot of fingers you got there. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the thumb makes 6. 6 fingers? Jesus, mate, if you've got a girlfriend, she must be very happy. Bruno gets Ash to peel the bark off a twig and says the lesson behind it is if you ever go camping, bring a fork. Now that's funny and all, but I've got some better advice. And this isn't a joke, this will genuinely give you a better experience if you are ever going camping. Fuck camping, just book a hotel like a normal person. Sleeping outside? What are you, a bloody shrub? As Ash and Misty lose faith in Bruno's lessons, Brock has a go at them and says that if he tries to strike Bruno with this big stick, Bruno will instantly sense his attack and block immediately. Thing is, mate, even if this were true, why would you try it? You met Bruno today, so he doesn't know you very well and probably doesn't fully trust you yet. So if you suddenly come running at him with a weapon, he's gonna think you're some robbers who tried to dupe him, and yeah, he's probably gonna block the attack, but when he does so, he'll probably also kick the shit out of you. Plus, attacking your heroes, now that doesn't really seem very protagonisty, does it? So Brock swings the big stick at Bruno, and as you'd imagine, he doesn't instantly react and block it. He just gets twatted over the head. Never meet your heroes, kids. They're never as cool as you think they are. Also, never twat your heroes over the heads with big sticks. They hate that. Bruno reveals that he doesn't actually know any secrets about Pokemon. Wait, so you're telling me that all this time the Elite Four have just been really strong Pokemon trainers?
Oh my god, I had no idea!
Direct quote from Brock.
Ah, my image of Master Bruno has just been shattered.
Kinda sounds like my viewers when they get to talk to me for more than 20 seconds. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm a fucking riot, me. Team Rocket are listening in and realize that all they need to do is catch a giant Onix to be as strong as the Elite Four. We're just gonna skip over the fact that that's not quite accurate, because there's something else I want to touch on. Because this is meant to build suspense for the viewer, like...
Oh no, Team Rocket are gonna try and catch a giant Onix.
like it's some kind of awful misdeed by a bunch of baddies. But Jessie and James are Pokemon trainers, and Pokemon trainers catch wild Pokemon. That's just something that they do. So Jessie and James are well within their rights to try and catch a giant Onix. Are they not? Ergo, there's no problem here. Just carry on. Meowth is worried about how they're gonna catch a giant Onix, and Jessie says,
Don't worry, we brought something unexpected.
I told you everyone overuses that pun. Listen, that pun has been used twice in this episode already, and that is way too much. It wasn't even a callback, it was literally just a reused pun. Pokemon, I'm officially revoking your pun license. Be better.
This message was brought to you by the Fun Police.
And in the next scene, we get a bunch of rock puns. Rocky Reptile, Petrified Puss, Stone Cold, and Rock and Roll. I've told you, Pokemon, stop this. You can't just throw out a crap, reused, overused pun and then try and shoehorn in a bunch of others. This isn't what I meant when I said be better moments ago. You really should listen to me. And while you lot are listening to me, make sure you go and use code ACE to save money on G Fuel. Not my best segue, but I'll take it. Today I'm drinking the wonderful guava. It's lovely and refreshing. Make sure you get it. If you're a fan of just lovely tropical fruits, get yourself some guava. Very, very tasty. Zero sugar, barely any calories, bags of energy, and bags of flavor. Like, what's not to love? Oh, it is really, really nice. Use code ACE today over at gfuel.com and get yourself 10% off your order. You lovely people, it helps support the channel and saves you money. Remember, of course, though, it's for over 18s only because children do not need caffeine. And of course, because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. Team Rocket literally fire missiles at the giant Onix. That's the spirit, guys. It definitely can't get away if you kill it. Wait, Meowth compliments James on his aim and James brags a little, but isn't Jessie the one aiming here? Like, surely she's in control of where the end of the barrel points, right? I'll ask the experts. Americans? Sorry, I mean gun fanatics. Who would be aiming in this scenario? That's it, Liam. Alienate half your audience. Team Rocket are then chased by the giant Onix and run into a cave to hide from it. Yeah, a cave, that'll do it. That'll stop the giant rock snake that's known in the Pokedex to burrow at high speeds and able to squirm through the ground at 50 miles per hour. Yeah, that cave is definitely going to protect you.
Well, actually, Liam, what else could they have done? If they hadn't run into the cave, Onix probably would have killed them.
Honestly, if the choices were die immediately or run in terror and hide in a cave in fear until the thing that was gonna kill you inevitably gets to you and kills you anyway, I'd honestly take the instant death. What can I say? I'm lazy. I'll do anything to avoid raising my heart rate. The giant Onix bashes its face into the wall of the cave and it does naff all. Mate, imagine the luck you have to encounter the one giant Onix that can't burrow for shit. If Team Rocket survive this, they need to go and buy a lottery ticket. Ash and friends overhear Team Rocket screams and Ash says they have to go and help them. Have you got to? Really? These are criminals. They've tried to steal your best friend away from you several times and follow you everywhere you go with that goal in mind. Yes, they are in danger, but nobody would blame you, Ash, if you looked the other way and pretended that this was none of your business. Which it isn't. Oh my god, not only did Brock actually decide to get involved with the battle, but he was the first person to send out a Pokemon. Who are you? And what have you done with our Brock? I need to lie down. Oh my god, they've all sent out Pokemon straight away for a change. Our three protagonists working as an efficient and cohesive unit? Has this ever happened before? Pokemon Anime historians, when was the last time this happened in the previous 70 episodes? Brock, a rock-type Pokemon trainer, well-versed in using rock-type Pokemon and probably well aware of their type effectiveness, aka their weaknesses and their resistances, tells his Onix to use the normal type move Tackle on the giant Onix, a move which will be not very effective. You know what? Maybe there's a reason Brock doesn't get get involved in battles very often. He's garbage. Misty Staryu uses Water Gun on the giant Onix and it barely hurts it at all. Now that's a super effective move. In fact, it's 4 times effective on Onix. All this says to me is that Misty really doesn't train her Pokemon enough, and she's supposed to be a gym leader. It's no wonder Ash has spent the last few episodes just not training his Pokemon if it's Misty and Brock that he looks to for influence. After the giant Onix has battered Brock's Onix, Misty's Staryu, Ash's Squirtle, and Team Rocket, Ash falls down into the canyon and it looks like the giant Onix is about to get Ash. Luckily, Pikachu jumps in to make the save and tries to use Thunderbolt on the Onix. Now normally I would be chastising Pikachu for even thinking of trying to use Thunderbolt on a ground type. But if you remember, Pikachu defeated Brock's Onix with Thunderbolt, so why wouldn't he expect it to work here? So technically, this means that knowing Brock has done more harm to Ash and Pikachu's training than it's done good. Direct quote from Ash.
Pikachu, electric attacks don't work on rock Pokemon.
I know, I pull the English dub up on this all the time. They meant ground, but the translators made a boo-boo and changed it to rock. The thing that makes me laugh is the idea of Ash Ketchum thinking for his entire Pokemon career that electric type attacks don't work on rock types. So when faced with any of the Kanto fossil Pokemon refusing to use any electric type attacks, even though they would actually be super effective. Ash is probably a numpty. Pass it on. When the giant Onix goes in to attack Ash and Pikachu, you can clearly hear Ash panicking and going, You can also hear Ash's Japanese voice panicking at the same time, going, yeah. Mwah, stellar job there, dubbing team. Couldn't even remove the original voice track before adding the new one. Bruno reveals himself to have superhuman strength and jumping abilities. He literally hops down into the canyon and effortlessly lifts Ash and Pikachu out of there with just 2 backwards jumps. Mate, with powers like that, why does he waste his time training Pokemon? He could make a killing by being the Pokemon world's Captain America. Or Captain Kanto in this case. So right when we have a perfect opportunity to see one of the Elite Four members in action using their signature Pokemon, Bruno says he's not going to use any Pokemon. That's great, because as a fan of the video games that this series is based on, where the whole point of the game is battling using Pokemon, my favorite part of this series is definitely the part where a Pokemon trainer decides not to use any Pokemon. That's like watching Transformers and Optimus Prime being like,
No, I'll be a truck today.
what, all day?
All day. I'll just be a truck. I don't want a robot today.
I don't really know Transformers that well. After using his insane jumps to avoid the attacks of the giant Onix, Bruno asks,
Why are you attacking me?
but honestly, it just reminds me of,
Why am I still getting hate?
Bruno manages to get onto the giant Onix's head and literally pulls a stop hitting yourself by getting the Onix to smack itself over the head with its own tail. Mate, that's the Onix equivalent to punching yourself in the face. How stupid do you have to be to actually punch yourself in the face? Onix is a numpty. Pass it on. Bruno asks Onix to tell him what it's feeling, and then meditates for a moment. So what, are you telling me he's psychic now? Does he have some kind of telepathic connection to the Pokemon? Is his last name Doolittle? Come on, Pokemon, explain to us why Bruno somehow has this ability. I guess we just have to assume he really is a superhero. Wait, there's gaps in Onix's body that things can get stuck in? So like right now, is Bruno literally reaching into the inside of Onix, like the hollow body cavity of Onix? Can he feel its organs and stuff in there? Seriously, this episode raises so many questions about Onix's anatomy. So are we just not going to talk about the fact that Onix was cranky because it had a sand slash stuck up its arse? Onix, you kinky bitch. Direct quote from Ash upon seeing Sand Slash.
What is that?
Ash, mate, you've seen Sand Slash before. You and your friends literally tended to one in the Chansey Operation episode where you all played Doctor. How have you forgotten about it already?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Ash was busy tending to a Nidoking in that scene, so he might not have seen the Sand Slash in that episode.
Come on now, you're embarrassing yourself. Oh, and just for those interested, the Chansey Operation episode of Pokemon WTF Moments is the most popular one, with over 250,000 views, which is really cool, so thanks for that. If we could get the other episodes to be that popular, that'd be cool, I wouldn't complain. Direct quote from Dexter. Sand Slash, the mouse Pokemon. Now I know that this is the correct Pokedex classification for Sand Slash, but still, a mouse? That thing is a pangolin mixed with an echidna with a little hint of shrew. How are you going to combine all that and then tell me it's a bloody mouse? And after all that, Bruno catches the giant Onix. But think about that. Bruno caught the giant Onix by making it fight itself. That is fucked, mate. Direct quote from Bruno.
I look forward to the day we face each other in battle, Ash.
So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 71, To Master the Onixpected. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam for all of my live streams. And of course, use code ACE to save money on G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. It's bloody warm. Keep on training.